let's also welcome in Sampath Reddy of Bajaj Allianz Life Insurance. I think he's with us now. Sampath, good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, hi.
How have you read this whole move, this consolidation between 9,900 to about 10,000? And which are the pockets of this market that you are still convinced about in terms of making fresh investments?
Right. I think, overall at this point of time, we believe that, valuations are on the higher side. From here on, if one were to make money, the corporate earnings have to grow much faster. The growth in earnings have to be, there. Corporate earnings have to recover at this point of time. Having said that, we still like some of the, the pockets such as like IT. We have been liking, mainly because of the valuations. Most of the headwinds in the sector has already been priced in. That's something which we like at this point of time. And also the consumer sector, even though the valuations are on the higher side, if you look at it, the earnings growth, I think they're still better off there. This overall in the context of the market valuation where we are in today, I think we like consumer sector also pretty well at this point of time. And the private financials, private banks and NBFCs, that is another space, we like at this point of time because, the growth continues to be very good there, because they've been taking market share from the public sector banks and that I think, there, you would not have any disappointment in terms of growth. So I think these are the three segments where we still think, one could make an investment and, look to make a good returns.
Okay, Sampath, hi, good afternoon. Any sectors or pockets of the market that you would want to avoid?
Yeah, I think, overall, as I said, in the valuations are relatively on the higher side in the market as such. Within that, I think mid-caps are relatively even more overvalued. Unless, unless you see the growth coming back in a big way, which is yet to be seen. Last, couple of years, we've been forecasting about 15-20% kind of a growth, but it is not really coming through. So unless we see a big recovery in the corporate earnings growth, mid-cap companies probably may not give a much of an appreciation. Within that, as I said, the beaten down sectors is the things where, valuations are still attractive. Maybe pharma is also, coming into the buy zone. IT certainly is in the buy zone in terms of valuation wise. Consumer as a sector, even though the valuations are on the higher side, we believe that, the structural growth continues to be there in the earnings side. That's another sector where we still think is a positive. But in terms of, the clear avoid, I think, there is nothing specific as such. Maybe industrial and infrastructure side where the growth is clearly absent. The capital spending is not there at all in terms of, private sector capex is not at all visible. So maybe I think those are the sectors will take relatively longer period of time in terms of, for one to, make returns from there. So outside of that, we stick to I would say more of a, companies where earnings growth visibility is very good.
Okay, Sampath, stay on with us. We have to now quickly go across to Nimesh to get a sense of what dealers have been saying today. Nimesh, a little quiet as far as the mid-caps are concerned, but there are pockets of excitement, right? Like, for instance, sugar, the JP Group stocks, etc.
Oh, yes, sir. So, there are pockets of outperformance in the mid-caps and even in the large cap, there is a bit of a recovery in the last 15-20 minutes of trade. So again, the sense I'm getting is from a technical point of view, 98.70 acted as a very strong support for the Nifty, so that's played out. I guess, even from a flows point of view, it's pretty much mixed for the last many days, and that's been the trend today as well. No large commitments coming in, from larger institutions in the past few days, and maybe that's the trend today as well. But clearly, the sense I'm getting is maybe, we are marching towards the 10,000 magical figure mark. It should happen, before the end of this expiry. So that's a general perception, within the dealers as well. But I guess the bigger pain today came in the telecom stocks post the Reliance AGM and the Big Bang announcement on the telecom side. So that probably is a sector where you'll probably see more pain going forward, and there is some bit of selling as well in the large cap telecom names in today's state. So that's a sector which stood out for punishment. But largely, my sense is, given that the earnings have been pretty much mixed. In fact, there are some negative reactions to some positive earnings. So that probably shows, to some extent, it's priced in the market. It's priced to perfection right now. So you need one big trigger for the markets to cross that big hurdle of 10,000. If that happens, you'll probably see further short covering. So net a day of consolidation with a positive bias. My sense is probably we're pretty much closer to that magical figure, which might happen before the expiry next week.
Okay, Nimesh, thanks a lot for that. Today's been really that kind of a day. Let's just pull out the intraday chart of the Nifty. So we started at 99.20. 99.20 was the high. slipped to 98.38. 98.38 is the level which slipped to. That's almost a 70-point intraday decline, and have gained all of that back, and once again at 99.20. So this 99.20 is interesting. Now we're within 80 points of 10,000. As I said, it either gets taken out with a gap, or it gets taken out when you throw in the towel. Who knows? But anyway, 99.20 is where we are ending, at least for now. Our closing bell money control question of the day is: will India beat England in the Women's World Cup this weekend? Log on to moneycontrol.com and post your responses, and we'll read out the most interesting ones post 3:30. And actually, I hope we have 100% on this one.
Welcome back. You are with Closing Bell. In fact, some of these telecom stocks, they're actually off the lows of the day. Even if you look at an Idea or a Bharti for that matter, they're no longer at the kind of levels where they were at around 1 o'clock this afternoon. So mild recovery, if you can call it that, underway. Sampath, what have you made of all the telecom news that we got today? And what's the approach towards telecom stocks?
Yeah, I think telecom stocks have been under pressure for last couple of years, mainly with the new entrant in the form of Jio. This seems to be the last leg of the competitive pressure from the Jio. It seems. I think given that stocks have already reacted a lot over the last couple of years, I think at this point of time, we would be evaluating more closely to look at these stocks. I probably will wait for 1 or 2 more quarters in terms of how this current announcement of pricing pressure will have an impact on the market. I think that would be probably completely the bottom in terms of earnings formation wise for these telecom stocks. At this point of time, I think clearly it's good to keep them under radar, and maybe the time is now to look at the stocks very seriously, and probably with the Jio already gaining a significant amount of subscriber share with about 100 million subscriber base. Probably I think they will also be look to monetize these customers, and in that backdrop, overall the pricing pressure will come to an end. Seems to be that at this point of time, it seems to be that this will be the last leg of the competitive pricing by the Jio. Maybe I think we would try to look at them more seriously. Probably we'll look to add very soon.
Okay, all right. Well, we've got some flashes from the Supreme Court. That's the big hearing underway, the 9-judge bench that's sitting in to decide on privacy matters with respect to Aadhaar. But Anuj, as we're counting down to the close, I mean, what's the sense? Yes, it's been a phenomenal recovery, but what do you think will be the leadership stock or sector next week? And will this market conquer 10,000 then on Monday?
Once again, look, the market today has absorbed a lot of selling and moved on. I think today's low is interesting because the market is now actually closing at the high point of the day, Surabhi, 99.23. Look, as we keep talking about this, you need a gap up to close out 10,000 at 99.30. The gap up that's required, and again that countdown should start. That gap up that you require is 70 points. 70 points is something that we have seen in the past, and Monday morning, if global cues are strong, and if you have today good maybe institutional data, then who knows? And once again at lower level, you have seen buying, and that is where the short trade does not work out in a strong market, or does not work out for too long in a strong market, because all you require is just 400-500 crores of buying from one institution, and the market is back to the high point. In fact, I wanted to take that point to Ashwini as well. Ashwini, should we be preparing for our song and dance on Monday?
Well, it's not any fun that you put on all your costumes and then the show doesn't happen. My suggestion is that, these sort of closing at the lows, closing at the highs mean nothing in a sideways market. So Monday could be a different day and it could look very different. So yes, you can buy around 9800, 9830, but upside confirmation is still pending. It's not still clear that whether you will be able to take 10,000 out in a hurry. Once 10,000 is decisively taken out, then you will not stop there. Probably you will do another 200 points. So the idea is, play for sideways till it's clear that we are going to break on the upside. And Nifty futures, by the way, is at a 8-10 point discount. So there are some smart cookies who are still trying to short the market at higher levels.
Sampath, final thoughts then? The best mid-cap themes that you are chasing in this market?
In the mid caps, we've been liking the auto ancillaries quite a bit, especially that companies such as tire companies, they've been doing good, and also the chemical companies, we've been liking them. Chemical sector, with the crude prices coming down, most of the fine chemical companies have also been doing good. So these are the two places where we still think the valuations are relatively attractive. So outside of that, the focus has always been on the larger cap segment. Within that, as I said, beaten down sectors like IT and pharma is the place where we're trying to pick up some stocks there in terms of mainly because of the valuations are attractive. We've also been liking the commodities, especially the metal commodities. There also we believe that the commodity prices are bottoming out, especially if you look at in the aluminum sector. The inventories have been coming down. LME inventories have been at a record lows. So that is, I think, is also that sector is also on the upswing in terms of earnings growth wise. Apart from that, as I said, generally the markets are relatively on the higher side. There are very few pockets where you can find the values at this point of time.
Okay, all right, Sampath, good having you on the show. On that note, let's just start winding down the week and the day.